and welcome to our last Coffee on Consulting this year. Just before Santa Claus or for Christmas, we have one last topic we would like to share with you and discuss, and we invited Emmi and Miss Flavia Mattis and Miss Barbara Reidi to tell us a bit more or give us more insight about Keep Exploring Emmi Talent Management Insights. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. At least I had already a glance on the slides and I can tell you it will be quite interesting. Before we start, on the right-hand side, you will see a box where you can download the slides from today. So please download them while the Coffee and Consulting event is online, because afterwards you will not be able to do so. However, in case you would like to have them afterwards, just let us know and we will share it with you. Also, and that is maybe much more important, there is a box about questions. And this is something now you can ask any questions to our two Emmi representatives, which you have in that regard. Ask everything you want to you need to know, and they will be able, or they will answer as good as they can. And then I would say we already start now. We will answer all the questions after the presentation, which goes about 30 minutes, and then there is enough time for any kind of discussions. When we thought about the last Coffee and Consulting event for this year, we thought what would be maybe a good topic for the last one, and what is something we may want to think about over the year end as well, to see how we can be better prepared for next year and what is maybe one of the bigger challenges we currently have. And we came up with that the shortage of skilled workers and talents is definitely something we are, I think all of us are at the moment trying to find the best people, trying to find a solution, what we can do to be best prepared for the future. And we have here one graphic from Switzerland about the shortage of skilled workers. However, you will find such kind of graphics in almost, I think, every country. It's a similar situation. We all have to look and fight for the right people. So there are a couple of things what I think we can do as employers, what we can do to attract new people. And one thing is definitely about compensation. That is always one of the issues. However, there is lots of other things which you may want to think as an employer as well, what you can do. And one thing what we have learned in lots of different surveys we have seen during the last couple of months or years is that people would like to have a kind of flexible workplace. And you may have already read or seen companies starting with the 4 days work period, which might be something to be more flexible, or during the pandemic, we have seen that home office working is also one of the options to be more flexible, and so that people can bring in their needs from the private life into the business life. One thing you may also need to think about, or maybe have already thought about and have maybe also already the right and perfect solution, is workation. Giving people the opportunity to work for a certain period of time outside of their usual country. Now, one thing is to attract new people, and the other topic is as well, what can I do to keep my employees to be the best employer for them? And they're certainly still to be attractive for all of them, have equal opportunities, fair treatment. I think these are also two of the words or two of the key buzzwords which we all look at or people look at, and then career development, like going maybe on an assignment or do something for the career. And I will now hand over to Barbara Reidi and Flavia Mattis, who will give us insight now what Emmi will do.
Thanks a lot. So also welcome from our side. It's great that we can be here and give you some insights on the Emmi talent management. But maybe first of all, who is we? So my name is Flavia Mattis. I'm heading the HR department for the division Europe. I joined Emmi 11 years ago, and I worked in different HR functions within Emmi. And I have my colleague here, Barbara. Before we start with the talent management insights, I would like to give you a few things around Emmi. So please, if you can move one slide. Next slide. Thanks a lot. So, I mean, Emmi, you probably know us, I hope so at least. We are the leading manufacturing of high quality dairy products in Switzerland. But as you can see, meanwhile, we also have a very strong local presence in 15 countries. And we do distribute our products in more than or roughly 16 countries. And we have 30 own production sites. So we do have subsidiaries abroad, and these are not just trading companies, we also have our own production sites. With more than 9,000 employees worldwide, we have grown quite significantly, let's say the last 10 years. And meanwhile, we have also 70% of our workforce are based outside of Switzerland. Next slide, please. This is our geographical setup, just to give you an impression. As you can see, we have strong local presence in North, but also South Americas in countries like the US. We are in Chile, Mexico, and Brazil. But then, of course, also in Europe, we have Spain, we have Italy, Austria, the Netherlands. We also have Tunisia, so just to give you a glimpse of where we are located out of Switzerland. Next slide, please. So let's speak about talent management. We call it Keep Exploring within Emmi. You maybe will also hear later on why we call it Keep Exploring. As a starting point, we do have a question for you. You might have already received some inputs in the beginning of this presentation. Nevertheless, please take your mobile phone and scan the QR code here. You will then be able to enter Mentimeter and put in your answer. We give you a few seconds for this. We hope that this technically works. Maybe we can have a look already at the results. Yeah, results are coming in. Oh, 2. We need more. So you can just scan via the QR code with your mobile phone. Maybe we can have a look at the results again. Are results coming in? So, not that many results, but so, yeah, let's see. A few more. Development opportunities, that's a good word for us. I think we might go back to the presentation and give you one of our answers on why employees leave the company.
And another research from US shows that workers left a job, the number 2 reason for leaving the job is if they have no opportunities for advancement. So Emmi is aware that continuous development and career opportunities make an important contribution to having motivated and also qualified employees. You see on the next slide that the Emmi Group has aligned its strategy accordingly. We have a sustainability strategy. Can you show the next slide? Yes, thank you. We have a sustainability strategy, and we have the goal that every employee by 2027 has a development plan. So we are not only focusing on planet and communities, but also people. And we have a strategic field called winning teams, because we are convinced that we need organizational structures that enable and promote successful collaboration. And on the next slide, you see that 2 important parts of this winning team strategic field is excellent leadership and talent and succession management. Yes, and the next slide. So as I said, the excellent leadership, that's one important program. No, one slide back, sorry. Excellent leadership, we focus there on a transformational leadership style, because we say it is very important that our leaders inspire people, they communicate a vision, and they have to be very positive and a role model, and very important, they act as a coach, meaning they ask questions, inspired by asking questions, and they develop all employees also individually. And on the other hand, we have this talent and succession management program, and it works hand in hand with the leadership program. To give you more details about what we are doing in this talent management, we go to the next slide. So we started with this program already in 2014, and we structured our work along 3 pillars. First, leadership, then development, and third, career. So first, we had to define what is the why of talent and succession management. And the most important reason for doing this program is that we want to secure the core competencies of the Emmi Group for today, but also for tomorrow. So we have defined a good understanding, or we try to define what we understand on, for example, potential. We defined what critical positions we do have within the Emmi groups and what kind of skills are needed today and probably also in future. And we try to build a solid pipeline also for these critical positions. So you see, there is a lot about developing people, and now the second pillar comes into play. We have different programs for specific target groups, but also for all our employees. I will tell you later more about these specific programs later in this presentation. And the third pillar is about career. We are pushing lateral career steps because we think it's not the way in future that you just go up and up and up. So it's very important within the Emmi group that you learn the whole business. So you take over a role or a job in a different department, or you move also abroad. So we are pushing these side steps a lot and not just going higher and higher in the hierarchy. To sum up, what are the goals of talent and succession management? I have summarized it on the next slide, please. So we want to fill half of our key positions internally. We are already achieving this key figure quite well. A second point is the development. We are saying, well, the world is changing so fast. We have a digitalization, working conditions are changing. So it's our social responsibility to constantly develop all our employees. So we are developing all our employees, but we are managing a few. And it means that we are managing our key talents, and we are trying to make with them faster steps, development steps. But the aim is still that all our employees are developed. So as I mentioned before, we have this KPI that every employee must have a development plan. And very important is also that all our employees understand that they have to be active and they have to contribute to their own development. It's not just waiting that something happens with them. It's also their task and work to be part of this. And the third, what I mentioned before, is about this career path. Of course, we have to show people what is needed for a certain position, but we are very much fostering the understanding that it's not just moving higher and higher, but it is very important to make side steps. To talk about development, we are working with different instruments, let's say. And on the next slide, you see that we work with, for example, a development map. We try to inspire employees, but also leaders, and show how and where they can develop and how development can happen. So in the center, you see we have a big island. It's the job island. And we say that's the most important island. You learn a lot on the job by taking over more responsibility or doing new tasks in your job, or to take over another job. There you have a lot of possibility, and we should profit from these possibilities on the job island. And we have other islands, for example, the role island or the project island. So you can learn by taking over a new role. For example, you become a key user of a specific system, or you work part-time in an interdisciplinary project team. There you will learn a lot. And of course, we do also have islands, training islands, or yes, and that's also a part of development, of course, but we say that's the smaller part by attending courses or trainings internally or externally. And we have also an island called Program Island. I show you on the next slide, please, what kind of programs we do have within the Emmi group. In Switzerland, of course, very important is the apprenticeships. Here, this is the basis for our succession pipeline. Of course, also because we have a skills shortage also here, but that's a very important base to have people and to educate people. Then we have a so-called program, Young Professionals. That's for young people, and we are sending them for 1 year abroad. They learn first the language in a school, and they work then for 1 year in a plant, for example, in Spain or in the US. And then we have, like most companies, a trainee program for people with a master's degree. We have such a training program in Switzerland, but also in other countries like Italy or Brazil. And currently we are examining whether we need additional trainee programs and can leverage the opportunities and synergies within the Emmi group. And we have also something for our middle management, that's the management practice. Key talents from all over the group, they work in small teams during 10 months, and they work on a specific project. Mostly they don't know the other people working together. They are not familiar with the project topic. So someone from finance will not work on a finance topic. So that's the challenge of this program. It's something people are doing on the job, on the top of their job. And they are really challenged during this 10 months. But we see lots of progress, and it's really a great program. And then, of course, we have short or long-term assignments, and we send people abroad. These are always perfect opportunities to develop on a personal or professional level. Opportunities to send employees abroad arise when specific skills are needed, or a position can ideally used as a development position. Yes, we have a lot of cool development stories to tell, and that's what we are talking about also within the company. Yes, on this slide you see already, for example, Natalie, she's giving tips. If you are working abroad, moving abroad, what can you do? Or we have the story of David. He started within the Emmi group as a trainee, and nowadays he's in UK as a STM head of supply chain. Yes. And on the next slide, you see also different statements, for example, from Wilson or Sandor, talking about her experiences and sharing tips with our employees. So we are very proud that we have lots of stories, and people are really willing to take out a step out of their comfort zone and developing very well. And now I hand over again to Flavia.
Thank you, Barbara. So, I mean, this sounds all very good, but of course we also do have lots of challenges on the way. We divided it a little bit in strategic challenges and operational challenges. So from a strategic point of view, it's about talent retention and being attractive as an employer. Yes, we do have some very good success stories in terms of how we develop our people, but yes, we need to fight to keep our talents and to be attractive as an employer. I mean, in Switzerland, Emmi at least has a name. Lots of people know us, and this can help to attract talents. When we look internationally, we also have lots of smaller companies that are quite unknown on the labor market, but they have to fight against the big players when it comes to talent. So this is a very big topic for us. What we see in all our entities, and we have heard it in the beginning of the presentation, we do have skills shortage and talent shortage. We have in some entities, we have already had a very thin staffing for some time because we simply cannot find people, especially in production, but also sometimes finance departments. And the fact that our locations are often outside of the big cities and maybe a bit in the middle of nowhere, let's say, certainly also does not help to find skilled people. On top of that, we do have the demographic shifts. We know we have shrinking working population, and yes, we have new generations, we have new expectations, and our task is actually to find good ways on how we can match these generations and expectations. And overall speaking, maybe we can summarize, it's all about how can we actually fill our talent pipeline and also develop our future leaders. So this is more the long-term perspective. And then on an operational side, it is quite a challenge to have a common understanding of what development means. I mean, hopefully we were able to explain a bit to you what our understanding of development is. We often face the challenge that still development in the minds is about climbing up a hierarchical ladder. But as said before, for us, this is definitely much more than that. And this is where leadership, and we say, let's say the right leadership mindset and behavior is so important, because developing our people clearly is a leadership task. It's not an HR task, it's a leadership task. We can make sure that we have the right tools in place, the right programs, but it is a leadership task. Then when it comes to evaluation of potential, also there are some challenges in terms of, okay, what is potential? I mean, we have defined what does potential mean. We have also described it quite in detail, but it's still a personal point of view that plays a role, always when you are evaluating your people. And especially in an international context, we always have different ways how we look at things. And this is fine, but it is a challenge that we have the same understanding of potential. And when we speak of we need to hire potential, people with good potential that we can also develop fast in the future, what does this potential mean for us? What we also want is actually to have more rotation in the organization. We are relatively rigid, let's say, in some areas, and this sometimes can also prevent us from offering good development opportunities, especially, but not only in the context of succession planning. And in this context, it would be great to have more employee mobility, actually. We consider it very useful when our people gain international experience, but this sometimes clashes a little bit with the ideas of employees, because not all employees do want to work abroad or just leave their home base. Sometimes they even do not want to move within the same country. We face this here in Switzerland. We have several production sites, but not all employees would want to move between these production sites. But we would actually really like to have more mobility of our employees. These just a few examples. We definitely have more challenges, but more important is the questions, what kind of levers do we actually have, or what are we trying to do to approach these challenges? And we have tried to summarize it here a bit. So maybe you can click. Yeah, exactly. So first of all, this is very important that we have affordable and attractive working conditions. This somehow is the basis. And if the basis is not there, you can actually do a lot in terms of development, etc. It is still difficult to retain or attract your people if you are not attractive in terms of the working conditions. So we say we first want to fix also this basis, and this is what we also see in some entities abroad, that we have a lot of job to do there. Next one. We need to up and reskill our people in order to be fit for the future. Barbara explained it already a bit. This also includes the skills management. We need to know what kind of skills do we have today, but more important, what is needed in the future and where do we see a gap. And this is where it comes into play, that we have this major tailor-made up and reskilling within the company, very important. And we also see this actually as an opportunity for us to somehow counteract a little bit the shortage of skilled workers. Next one. So a higher organizational agility is what we want as well, or what we see actually as one lever. We need to empower employees, we need to empower our teams in order to be able to innovate and to satisfy our customers, and also to be able to react to the changing needs of the market and to the changing market shifts. We are in a very rapidly changing environment, very ambiguous environment. You probably all know the VUCA world, and we actually see this as very crucial to succeed in this VUCA environment. Next one, please. So here we have it. Purposeful use of people analytics. Let's say we would maybe call it and say we need to work more or more smartly with data, because data is very powerful, and we believe that data supports us in identifying problems early on. It's a little bit about this predictive data, but also in order to make data-based decisions. And this is then also for us important in order to be able to answer questions and hypotheses that are coming from the business, that we have really this data-based decision making. And then we have career models, which we use actually not only but also in order to inspire development. So it can help us to also broaden our mindset amongst leaders and people, what development and career is. So it's not only this growing hierarchically in the organization, it's also lateral moves, learning on the job, that is very important. And in talent management conversations we have with our leadership teams, we strongly really focus on this understanding of development, and career models can help us there as well. Next one. So this goes a bit in hand what I already mentioned. We would really want to further promote movement within the Emmi group, to really have more rotation within the departments, within the functions, but also within countries, also to be able to share network. Also, we say it's also a lever that we have to feel as really one Emmi group, because we have so many entities. So this movement also helps us there. But last but not least, we say most important is that we have excellent leaders. Talent management, it is a leadership job. It's not an HR job. We're leading the process with our businesses. We enable them. We're making sure that we have the right discussions, the right tools, the right mindset in place. But it's really a leadership task. And this statement says it very well. People are the Emmi Group's most important asset, and we need leaders really living this. in this sense, thanks a lot, and we are now open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. It is quite interesting and quite impressive what you did and what you do. How were you able to get all the different countries on board with your ideas about talent management and development?
Well, maybe we can say we're still working on it. we're not yet there to have everyone on board, but it has really been a journey. I think we started to develop our talent management 7 or 8 years ago. Barbara, please correct me. And we really did it step by step. I mean, we first started in Switzerland, which is the biggest organization, and it is really legwork to do. You need to do it all over again, have the right conversations, have the right stakeholders on board, have the right mindset, work on this mindset, and not to forget to continuously also developing what you did, because the world 7 years ago definitely looked different than it is now. And step by step, we also onboarded our entities, but we're still onboarding, and we're still working on this mindset. So we are on a journey, and we continue on this journey. Barbara, maybe you have some insights here as well.
Well, I would just add that it's also a big difference what culture is in a country. So we see sometimes it's really they are really hierarchical, and they are not used to talk about people in a leadership team, because they aren't that transparent. And on the other hand side, we have here in Switzerland lots of teams saying, why aren't we more transparent? Why doesn't all our employees do know if they are a key talent or not? So we have sometimes big differences between the countries, and we have to deal a little bit with this. And so that's really the question: what do we want that everyone is doing and learning, and that we have become the same mindset and talking in the same language, and where companies can do it a little bit in a different way because they need more time, or they have to do it in a other way. But
I mean, it's always the same. And I thought when I looked at where your entities are, then that might be a bit challenging, because some of the countries are so completely, even we are one world, and today we think everybody, if we speak about one topic, everybody has the same understanding, but it's definitely not. Even if we all speak English, it's different. And I definitely believe this. Now, what do you see will be your next big challenges in your on your journey now to basically reach then at some point your goal?
Well, one topic that we will have on the agenda, because the levers that we showed is not that we are already doing all of this. So, for example, this topic of data and working with data, we are really not there yet. So we need to address this definitely. Also, in terms of leadership, we need to think of what is leadership in the future. How does leadership change also in maybe more agile contexts? This is definitely what we have on the agenda, and the whole upskilling, reskilling, this is a huge topic. Also, future learning, how do we learn in future? How do people learn is a very huge topic. What I see personally in my role is still to actually discuss with the entities that the skills shortage is already there and that we need to act now, because some entities still think we do have time, it's not that a big problem, and we will be still able to find people where we actually say, no, we're already there and it will be even more difficult. So mainly actually everything that we mentioned in the levers we are also still working on.
Do you see also a challenge with the younger generation and the way they think work will be or their work day should be?
Yes, we see that they are changing their job very fast. If they don't feel developed, they go. If there is no perspective for them, they are used to work in different ways. So they are used to work in hybrid ways, and they want also to work more at home or balance their different life departments very well. So I think we have also to think about attractive work models, especially in production sites. That's not that easy because you have shifts, and we have to think about even there, what can we do that people stay with us. Yes.
Sure. Have you already thought about these topic which you currently see always in the press about only working 4 days a week in future?
We have now the possibility to buy more holidays. That's the first step, let's say. But no, I don't think that we thought about this for the whole group. I don't know if you know more, Flavia.
Yeah. Not for the group, but definitely we say, I mean, if an Emmi company would lose them, but it's not an initiative that we have globally, because also this is very, very depending on the cultural context. For example, in Brazil or our Mexican entity, they even work Saturdays. So not even to think of reducing to 4 days a week. So this is also very dependent on the cultural context. But yes, if a company would like to try out, would be interesting to see how this works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we will see when now the first companies will start with that, how in the end, whether the performance and everything will be as good as it was before, or what kind of insights they have in the end. After a year or two, you may see then whether that is something we all may think about, or whether we might still go back and say, okay, we still happy with our 5 days, instead of if we look at other countries and they work 7 days a week. So we are already much better off. Thank you very, very much. There are no further questions, just lots of comments how great the presentation was and how good the insights was. So I think we all learned a lot. Thank you very much, Ms. Mattis and Ms. Reidi, for your insight from Emmi. It was perfect, and I think it was also great now to for our last Coffee and Consulting this year. We are soon already at Christmas time, and then the year is kind of ending, and we are already planning on 2023 on what we do next. And there will be also next year Coffee and Consultings from our side, and we also will do that with partners together. From my end, I can only say thank you very much, Ms. Mattis and Ms. Reidi, for today, and for all of you for your attending our Coffee and Consultings, our events, participating in it. asking all your questions. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we always did, and all the best wishes for you and your family. And we all hope we will see us next year, as well as hopefully at one time, at least then also in person again. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.